Welcome friends to the Big Four video. Uh, I'm Dr. Sudhir Sharma from Department of Electrical Engineering, DAV Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jalandhar, Punjab. In this video, we will be discussing the environmental life cycle impact of UPS. In earlier videos, we have discussed about the high efficiency UPSs and their environmental impacts, because we have seen that UPSs installed in IT sector consumes about 2% of world's electricity, and their market is growing worldwide. So the environmental effects of high efficiency UPSs were compared with standard UPS in video 1. In video 2, the environmental standards applicable to UPSs as a product and as a process were discussed. Talking about the video outcomes, after learning through the video, student will analyze the importance of high efficiency UPSs as compared to the standard UPS for environmental effects and sustainability. Student will interpret and apply various environmental standards applicable to uninterrupted power supplies, product and process both. And student will summarize the environmental life cycle assessment of uninterrupted power supplies. Talking about ISO and IEC standards applicable to UPS, this table 1 gives the standards and their purpose. So IEC standards 62040-4 for uninterruptible power systems, UPS part 4. This standard covers the environmental aspects, requirement and reporting. So this standard is in harmony with all other standards such as ISO standards applicable for environmental management studies. This same standard is adopted by the British standard as a BSEN 62040 for uninterrupted power supplies. Then ISO 14040, this covers the principles and framework for life cycle assessment, and this is used for life cycle assessment study of UPS also. So ISO 14044, this is also used for the calculating the life cycle impact of UPS. Then ISO 14021 to ISO 14023, they talk about the environmental labeling, self-declared labels. And ISO 14020, this also covers the environmental labeling, but this talks about the third-party labeling. And ISO 14025, this is talking about the environmental product declaration. ISO 14010 to ISO 14015, they covers the environmental audit guidelines, methodology, process, what should be the constitution or the constitution of requirement of auditor, etc. So these all are applicable on this product also, UPS, and the process of manufacturing of UPS. The study which I am presenting today is the actual work of Mr. Sagar Ghunde from Eaton, India, and Krishi Hakalathi. He's a product manager at Eaton. This study was conducted on an Eaton product 93 PM on UPS power supply, uninterrupted power supplies. The aim of this study was conducted keeping in mind the two goals. One is to assist the company in eco-design of the products, and the intended audience is the Eaton customers and internal Eaton customers. And the second goal of the study was to quantify the life cycle environmental performance of this UPS, and the purpose was to justify and communicate the environmental claims in detailed critical reviewed life cycle assessment report to the potential customers of this UPS. So starting with the introduction part, the Eaton 93 PM UPS studied for environmental impact analysis. This UPS has two operational modes. One is double conversion mode and other is energy saver system mode, ESS mode. So study was conducted by Eaton to assess the impact from different phases of life cycle of UPS. And during the study, it was found that in-use phase is most impactful, making between 62 to 90% contribution to the overall lifetime impacts. The impact of in-use phase, these are tied to the efficiency of the UPS. Energy saving system mode, as its name shows, this has a higher efficiency, so opportunity for reducing the environmental footprints. In practice, it was seen that ESS mode was found to reduce the impacts between 43 to 62% as compared to double conversion mode. We'll see this in detail when we move further. Talking about the standard referred for the study, so this study was carried out in accordance with the ISO 14040 and ISO 14044 guidelines on life cycle assessment. The UPS which was under study, the load profile of that UPS was considered over a lifespan of 13 years. The following figure, this figure number 2, defines the typical load profile with 30 minutes of load on the batteries per year, assuming no redundancy. Then the inventory analysis was carried out. For carrying out this inventory analysis, the product life cycle was divided into 6 main stages. First is production, then assembly, testing, packaging, delivery, in use, and end of life. And this production phase was modeled using detailed bill of material from the different store sections and different production sections. This next figure 3 will show you the weight contribution analysis of various components. This is an important analysis. You can see battery constitutes the maximum weight part, that is 75%, 1%, and second on line is frames and metal parts with 19.2%. The various other parts, they contribute wires and cables approximately 0.1%, plastics 0.6%, inductors 1.2%, capacitors 0.2%. These PWBs 0.4%, switches 0.4%, diodes 0.1%, fans 0.3%, integrated circuits. They constitute approximately 0.01%, and others includes 2.5%. So this is by weight contribution of the component for this 93 PM UPS. When the impact across the life cycle stages was conducted, this figure 4 shows the contribution of life cycle stages to the overall impact from the product life cycle. And it is seen that contribution of impacts from the in-use phase is found to be highest. That is ranging between 62 to 90%, which is on the very much higher side. And impact from production is 10 to 38%. Whereas the combined contribution from other phases is in the range of 1 to 2%. When analysis per life cycle stage was conducted, we have seen that in-use phase and production phase was analyzed more in detail, because the contribution majorly comes from these two phases. And it was found that in-use phase impact occurred from power loss was 74%, and energy consumption for cooling purpose is 26%. So these are related to each other, because if losses are more heat will be produced and more cooling is required. So high efficiency UPS will simultaneously be requiring less, will be having less cooling requirement. And when talking about the impact from battery production, it was found that the highest is battery production was highest, and it varies from 41 to 75%, followed by frames and metal parts from 9 to 22%. So in the production section, we can see by weight also the batteries constitutes the maximum weight, and the next in the line was frames and metals, and similar kind of impacts are coming from, similar proportion of impacts are coming from these two sections. So this figure gives you the detailed analysis of various components of the production stage. Then another interesting analysis called analysis of impact intensities by component group was conducted. If I define the impact intensities, these can be defined as the impact of component production divided by the weight of component in the product. So this figure 6 shows the impact intensities for different components for climate change damage category. And it was found that integrated circuit are found to be the highest impact intensity, followed by diodes and then cables and wires. When these two modes were compared, one is ESS, where the load is powered securely through static bypass line, and a double conversion mode in which a typical 2 millisecond transition time in the event of abnormality on the supply source. These two were compared, and we have seen that overall reduction was between 43 to 62%. Impacts from all other life cycle for these two operating modes remain same. This difference comes because ESS is a higher efficiency UPS as compared to double conversion mode. So if I conclude, I can conclude with that the most impactful phase of the UPS life cycle is the in-use phase. The impacts are mainly attributable to power loss and cooling requirements. So impacts during the in-use phase are tied to the efficiency of the UPS, and ESS mode since has higher efficiency, so they have environmental footprint between 43 to 62% as compared to double conversion mode. The production phase has the second highest environmental impacts, mostly as a result of lead acid battery production. End of the life phase has positive impacts attributed to the material recycling. The other phases, assembly, testing, packaging, and delivery, have minimal impacts over the life cycle of the product. These are the references considered for the study, and thank you very much.